welcome back to the channel. Mama Green Thumb here. First of all, before I get started with this video, I want to talk about an intro. I will be working on an intro for the next couple of weeks, like editing one, figuring out like what style I want it to be, because I realized that I don't have an intro. I want it like short and something that will be a permanent thing that I keep here on the channel. I'm multi-talented, so I do a lot of things really well. And so my brand is the Modern Flip Studio because I have other things that actually make me money from my business. So I will be adding some of those things to the channel actually quite soon. A lot of you who know me personally know that I also do events in real life. Well, I garden in real life too, but I do events on the weekends. I'm an event stylist. I do work. I do homeschool with my 2 little girls. I'm married, and I do interior designing. And so the Modern Flip Studio is my business, and I didn't want to change that for YouTube, like business-wise. But I do think I want to call like my gardening series something. I'm just not sure like if I want to just roll with Mama Green Thumb Garden, the Mama Green Thumb Garden, or I don't know. Drop a comment down below if you have any suggestions on what that should be. Now, that being said, I will be expanding the community garden plot very soon over the next couple of months. So I want to take you guys on that journey. It will be bigger. I will be getting some sort of livestock. Not sure exactly what it'll be yet, but I'm excited about it. The girls are excited about it. We're all excited about it to start this new chapter in our life. But today I really wanted to focus on clearance plants and plants that you're buying or may get free that look pretty much deceased. So if you're interested in that, drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Come on, subscribe to the channel. I mean, leave me some comments. I know you guys are watching my videos, so what's that? Leave me a comment. First step you want to do when you're purchasing a plant is, I know that it's very tempting to buy a clearance plant or to get some of the free plants that your store might have like outside. But it's very crucial that you make sure you're paying attention to if that plant could even be revived, right? So I got some specifically that can't be revived here to show you guys which ones not to get versus which ones can be nurtured a little bit if you bring them home. So the first plant I want to talk about is this cucumber plant. These are all Bondi products, and if you don't buy them, that's fine. First things first, I want to show you this cucumber plant. Like I was saying, you want to make sure that when you are purchasing the plant, those areas in which I discussed are not damaged. But neither one of these cucumber plants can be revived. The main stem is damaged, and that is going to cause permanent damage to the plant. So it isn't going to matter how many nutrients or love and tender care I give this plant, it is not going to survive. Now, the other cucumber plant, however, has very similar issues, but the issues that are here are not as drastic to the one that you've seen prior. This one, this top leaf is actually still soft. It isn't all dead, which means it can still photosynthesize, and with the right nutrients, it will come back to life. So there's like a little checklist, right? And with this checklist, you want to make sure you are paying attention to all of those main points. It's not very many. So as long as you kind of memorize that checklist right there, then you will be safe to purchase a clearance plant. Now, next thing you want to think about is majority of the time these plants are root bound or they are very, very dehydrated. So that is going to be the second thing that you want to pay attention to when you're getting a clearanced or free plant. If it is severely dehydrated, you want to make sure, one, you are fertilizing it. And so the fertilizer that I prefer to use when I am reviving a plant is fish fertilizer. And what I do is I obviously go to the back of the container and I look to see how much each plant would take. In this case, I would just make a big container of it, mix it all together, and then supply the bottom of the tray with the nutrients because it's going to suck it up from the root system. It can sit overnight, and then I know that the roots are getting a fertilizer. Next thing you want to do is you want to see if there's enough soil in that small container. Remember, we're not putting this in your garden bed or inside of a container as of yet because it needs a little bit of TLC. So, like this tomato plant here, tomato plant, there isn't enough soil in here. So actually, if I take it out, not only is it going to, well, it's actually not quite root bound, but there just isn't enough soil in here for this large size plant. So with this tomato plant in particular, what I would do is the first step was for me to fertilize it overnight and hydrate it because it was also very, very dry. So that was the first step that I did last night. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of potting soil to just fill up this container. I'm just going to put it in there. Just like that. This is also giving stability to your plant. This is going to be a very large plant, so it also needs the stability. The next thing, if you're getting a tomato in particular, you want to make sure it hasn't flowered yet. Because I'm not encouraging flowering yet. This plant is a baby, so I don't want it to flower. I'm just going to pick those flowers off and any suckers that I might see. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if any of these leaves have any infection on them. You can actually look at that at the store too, see if there's an infection or aphids or anything like that. Give your plant a good cleaning. I looked for aphids when I was there and I didn't see any, but what I do see is a little bit of damage to the leaves, so I'm going to cut some of those off. This is what my plant looks like now that I first fertilized it because it was dehydrated and watered it. Then I put some additional soil in here because it's not ready to be transplanted, and I cut off some of the damaged leaves. Let's move on to another step. Now this is a strawberry plant and it could actually be planted up in something else. This can actually go straight into the garden, but if I were going to put this straight into my garden, what I would do first is cut off all these. It's going to kill you to do this. obviously. But I would cut off all of these little strawberry flowers and strawberries that are forming. I'm just gonna cut those off. Okay. And any of the dead leaves, again, I would cut those dead leaves off. If you're getting something like lettuce, like this, what I would do is the same process. Make sure I am fertilizing it, giving it some nutrients with some water, and then I'm just gonna top these off. I'm just gonna cut all the tops off, because with this type of lettuce, most lettuces, you just cut the tops off and they will sprout back. So that's what I'm gonna do now with this lettuce. I'm just gonna cut off all the top. It's gonna be very, 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 very tiny, 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 but that's okay, because it's gonna come back to life better than ever. So it looks kind of sad now, but trust me, we fertilized it last night. We're doing it a favor. So these can actually go in the garden too. This next step that you're gonna wanna do is, after you've already given them you've already fertilized, you've already given them additional soil if necessary. The next thing you wanna do the next day is give them sunlight. They need to photosynthesize, they need to regenerate all of their energy into producing again. So put them in a climate where it is, if you have a grow light, I'd put them under a grow light in the perfect conditions, but I don't have a grow light yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to basically put them in the sun. That is the last step that I'm gonna do. And these guys should come back to health within maybe a week. I'll give them about 2 weeks before I transplant them, but after that, you should be pretty good to go. Now remember, with each plant, it is gonna be different. So if you guys want me to do it on each plant, I definitely can. Drop a comment down below, because some plants are different, but I tried to pick the plants that were all different so that you guys could really understand which plants to choose and which plants not to choose. So if you're doing something like a basil, here's a pepper. This pepper is in perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing that needs to be done here is I need to add some additional soil in here. And remember, when you're adding additional soil, you don't want your leaves to be under soil. So if there are leaves on the bottom, you definitely want to make sure you just pull those off, or you snip them off. Make sure it's pretty full. And this plant is not root bound at all. The roots are getting there, but I think it could use about 2 more weeks in this container. So I am just going to now add soil to all of them. I have a Thai basil, and it's actually 3 plants in one. So technically, if I wanted to, I can take them all apart and put them in here individually, but I'm not going to. This one just broke off on its own, so I'm just gonna leave it like that and let these grow up to be a really bushy plant. It's actually very, very moist too, so I won't water it for about 2 days. Now, this is a great example. This is a butternut squash, and there are 3 plants in here. 2 of the plants can be saved, but 1 of them can't. However, these are also really large and heavy feeders. So what I'm gonna do on this one in particular is I'm gonna separate the plants, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. This is a butternut squash, so what you wanna do is just take it out and then easily separate them. They should come apart pretty easily. See, there's 1 plant right there. This plant is gonna go in its own container, and I'm gonna fill it up with soil. Let's see if I can get these two apart. Yeah, very easy. This is the dead one anyway, so we're just gonna put that off to the side. And I think this one can still be saved because, again, the main stem is perfectly fine. This leaf is not gonna come back, so we are gonna cut that off. We're gonna cut off this small one because it's dead. It's a dead leaf. As opposed to me leaving this one, it is soft, and this one is just perfect. So we're not even gonna touch that. And there are new little ones growing up right behind it. So these two will be potted up now. That's full, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. I actually need to go and grab another container for this guy right here. Oh no, I can just use these. These are our dead ones, remember? So I'm doing the same process again. I am filling it maybe a little more than halfway. Putting my plant inside and then backfilling. Actually, that's too much. So I'm just gonna do it about a third, not even halfway. There we go. Now I'm just gonna backfill it. And if you don't know what backfill means, it just means filling up your container, whatever the container is. Done. Now I'll move to the next one. So the next one is this basil plant, right? It was so dry, like when you pick it up, it was hard. Like it was crunchy, guys. It was so crunchy. But I got this one because I already have a basil plant, but I wanted to show you guys that you can get multiple plants out of one container. Let me show you. This basil plant is actually 2. Let me show you up close. You see that? That's multiple. It's actually 3. Look. No, it's 2. So I'm going to separate them. So what here, I have 2 plants now, and these are going to get really large. So I'm just going to separate them and do the same thing. This plant looked fine. All the stems look fine on this plant, but as I'm pulling it apart, it is a little more difficult. There we go. Yeah, it is 3 plants. Look at that. So I just got 3 plants for, so if you think about it, if you're paying a clearance price for your plants and you have 3 in there, come on. If these are like $1.50 and you got 3 plants, you just literally just pay 50 cents for a basil plant. And what you can do so that you never have to buy your basil again is just let this go to seed, or let one of them go to seed, and then keep the seeds for next year. You never have to buy your basil plant ever again. So again, I'm just backfilling the container. And that's it. That is done. I did look for bug damage yesterday and I didn't see any, so it should be okay. And since these were like super moist, I'm not gonna water them until tomorrow because I did hydrate them overnight and I don't want them to like get root rot, because that is a thing. You can't water your plants too much and they die also. So I have 2 more basil plants to do. Actually, this one just broke at the main stem. It might live with this. You know what? I'm gonna keep it just to see if it grows. Like this little plant, just the top part of it broke off right here. So I'm not sure if I can revive this little thing, but I'm gonna put it in a really small scale and just see. I'll update you guys on Instagram and through my shorts to see if this comes back to life. But sometimes it isn't even worth it. It's not even necessary for me to try and save that little plant because I just got 3 for the price of 1 on clearance, you know? So I'm gonna cut down these bottom branches so that I can put the whole thing, majority of it, in the soil. See? And all of this, the soil will come to about right here. I'm gonna fill it up again. And done. So that is pretty much it for today. I just wanted to give you guys some inspiration. And actually I just wanted to give you guys how to revive these plants that you see on sale, because some may be tempting and they should be purchased before they're discarded. But you want to be mindful of those key things that I told you earlier in the video. Drop a comment down below if you have any other suggestions on potting up clearance plants and how it works for you. Drop a comment and show some love. Drop a comment and let me know if you are getting anything out of these videos, or give me some suggestions on new videos that you think I should try. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you in a couple days.